Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Wedding Film School Live. We were off last week. We are happy to be back. I think we forgot, Jay, that the fourth.
Yes.
Bad. 2 weeks ago,
we would have done it
yeah,
if our families allowed us.
we were live actually. We just nobody.
You
was
missed
here.
it. You're the one who missed it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, excited for another week, another live stream. And we are still taking submissions. So if you're here right now and you have a film that you want reviewed, we have a few in the queue. We can always dig back to the list as well, but we are happy to have some more submissions.
Link is in the chat, guys. Go, and I think in the description, and really just like 100 million places. So
yeah,
just click any of them and it will work. Weddingfilm.school.
But without I don't know, further ado or whatever.
What do we do on this thing? Why don't you tell the internet? What do we do on this?
Yeah. We're here to review your wedding film. So if you have joined us before, you kind of know the rundown. If you have not, Jay and I would like to say we're seasoned veterans in the wedding film industry. We're probably well over 30 years between us, and we're here to just help everybody get better and improve your wedding film. So what we want to do here is we want to watch a film. We're going to watch around 2 minutes of it. That's where we found that we have enough insight at that point. We might go a little longer if we feel like it. And if you are a member, a paid member of the Wedding Film School YouTube channel, which you can do by hitting the join button down below next to subscribe, we'll watch more. We'll watch 5 minutes of your film. And then we're going to share some things that we think that you are excelling at, and then some things kind of meeting you where you're at and saying, here are the key things that we think based on this wedding film you should work on or change for your next film to make it as good as possible.
Yes.
So that's kind of our approach.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like we always say it, I think I am an expert at wedding filmmaking. I think you're an expert at wedding filmmaking, Bobby. Yes. But we are not the experts, and there is not only one way to be successful. And so as much as we will give our critiques, a lot of times we'll end up discussing the merit of some of our own critiques. And because ultimately...
And that's why we like it.
Yeah, for you guys, if you're making these films, you know your client, and that is always the goal. So when we review them, sometimes we're not necessarily taking into account the fact that it's a film made for a client, not for us. Yeah. We're just reviewing it as wedding filmmakers, not as your client. So that being said, you want to review some wedding films?
That is literally what I'm here to do.
Let's rock and roll.
What's up, Felipe? I think we have your film up.
Yeah, why don't we do Felipe's?
We ready to go? Yeah, I think Felipe is up first anyway. So
is he? Zwan Min Hitit? What is Hatet?
Oh, are you in? You might be in a different. You're in last week. So
yeah. There it is.
Yeah. So Felipe, not just because you're in chat, but you were in our queue already as the first film up. So excited to go through your film and excited to have you live in chat. Of course, not required, but always appreciated because we might have some questions along the way.
Hopefully it's the best film I've ever seen. That's what I would like.
That's ideal. And if you are in chat as well, excuse me, feel free to share your thoughts on things as we watch the film, as we discuss it. We want this to be collaborative. And like Jay said, we are not we are an authority, but we are not the authority. We are not always right. And a lot of this stuff is opinion-based. So should we do it?
Did he give us any information on said film?
Oh, that would probably be a good thing to
Yes. Whoop! I played it by accident. Hold on.
No. All right.
Ruined.
This is a small destination wedding in Bucharest, Romania. So
I can see that right there.
We've already spoiled it. Groom is from Ecuador, bride from Romania, but they live in Denmark. Intimate, family-oriented event. Shot for 2 days. With a pre-wedding session. Oh no, that was on the first day. It was a pre-wedding session. The wedding itself the second day. Destination weddings aren't the best business for him, but took the opportunity to explore parts of the world that they never thought they'd see. So
I love that.
If
but
nothing
also,
else,
I like that they admitted the truth.
Yeah,
destination weddings can kind of suck. Like
from
a financial
just talking
standpoint.
about that with somebody.
I got a gig in Portugal, which I'm actually excited about in October. And I can tell you, we took a discount.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, just like anything. I think it's very hard to make destination work your consistent bread and butter, rinse and repeat.
Well, the irony is the people who
But
do
that's
that,
kind of what,
their actual bread and butter is luxury weddings, and they just happen to be destination. But there are a lot of destination weddings that are not what you consider luxury weddings. And those are hard to make money on because it's like for instance, like somebody was telling me the other day, you could spend $300K on your tent, or you could fly every single guest to Italy.
Yeah.
Like, that person is trying to save money. That's why they went to Italy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Trying to get more bang for their buck.
More bang for their buck. So they're not going to give you more just because the wedding's in Italy. They're going to try to find a local person who's cheaper than you. As they should. But speaking of,
already on a tangent.
Let's watch our film.
Let's watch this film. How long is this? I can't see it.
It's like 17 hours, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. We'll be here until tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell my family. I'm reviewing a 17-hour wedding film. I probably won't make it out alive. It's 5 minutes. If we like it, let's do the whole thing.
All right.
Today is a day filled with so much warmth and love. And it brings me immense joy to be standing here as the proud sister of the groom. If you had told me years ago that I'd be officiating my brother's wedding, I would have thought that you were pulling a prank on me.
One time I did a wedding to this song. Bobby.
I don't know what song it is, but
I don't either. I just know that I edited to this song, and the client was like, "We hate this."
What?
It's the one edit that we did. We tried some stuff, and they returned it, and they were like, "We wanted the boring." They literally were like, "We just want a chronological edit." So I have this song. I'm a little traumatized by. Anyway, well, minus 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy did a very similar thing.
Oh, that's right. I'm reporting live from Romania here at Victor and Oana's ceremony. It's incredible. I'd just like to congratulate the newlyweds. Really, I love you both. Reporting live, Romania.
Felipe,
Bob
who
Baker,
is
back
this
to the
guy?
studio.
It's like, it's me.
There's no time for regret, and it goes 1, 2 step. If you need time out, just bounce back. And it goes 1, 2 step. Always be, so don't you look back. 'Cause I can feel it, yeah, I can feel it now. 1, 2 step. Better ease your mind and relax. And it goes 1, 2 step. Just fall back and bounce with this track. And it goes 1, 2 step. What you knew before, just forget. 'Cause I can feel it, yeah, I can feel it now.
Cool.
And so today, as they embark on this new chapter of their lives, we can rest assured that their bond is unbreakable. They will continue to inspire and uplift one another, drawing strength from their love and making each day a new adventure. Victor Hugo and Juana, as you stand here today, surrounded by all the good energy of your family and friends,
How does that
remember
make you feel,
that your love
Bobby?
is a force to be reckoned with. Cherish
You like
each
that a
other,
lot?
Be each other's rock,
Me either.
and never forget that a good laugh can cure almost anything.
that lens is just so much distortion on
Each
that.
of them has brought a vial of sand representing the continents that have shaped their individual journeys. Victor Hugo has collected sand from Ecuador, the place he calls home, representing the love and support of his family and the cherished memories he holds dear. Meanwhile, Juana has gathered sand from her homeland, representing the traditions and cultural heritage that have molded her character.
What is her homeland?
Romania.
Is it Bucharest? Was she from Romania?
Blessings and
She's
cheers
from
to
Romania,
this
I
beautiful
think it
couple
said,
and their
and he's
symbolic
Ecuador.
union of sands and ring exchange.
But they
Let
live
us
in
all
Brazil?
shower this beautiful
They
couple
live
who
in
proves that love can
Denmark.
overcome distances, climb mountains, and outwit any
Mind
obstacle.
blown. They're all
Here's
over.
to a lifetime
International
of love, laughter,
superstars.
and epic adventures together. Now let's celebrate the lives of these two beautiful souls. You are now married.
Hey, you can see that camera. It's a GoPro. So now you know.
Oh.
And give yourself the grace to grow from yesterday. There's always room to change. Don't put your love to cage. Put your pen to page and write your soul away. There's always room to change. It's your dinner and your short brown hair, your rhythm. It gets me where I wanna be. So dance with me. I've never slept so easily. It's your wisdom and your little white shoes and your little mind. The rules to lose. So dance.
No matter what and what country you see, like, it's remarkable to me. As much as we talk about how different weddings are, how, like, they're the same everywhere.
This one specifically,
This
I'm like,
literally-
you could tell me this is in
Texas.
you know, Illinois or something, and I'd be like, oh yeah,
Like, people are just doing wedding stuff.
yeah.
So, and wedding
Kinda
band
interesting.
and everything. So, it's comforting, you know?
Yeah.
It's a universal language we have. Good taste in
They have the
music.
Same idea.
They have good taste in music.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, that is a
So
very, very, very mixed bag I have on that one. So,
I would agree. Yeah.
why don't we
there's,
dig
like-
in there?
Let's do it. Do you want to go first? Do you want
Sure,
to go
talk about what we liked. I mean, I think there's a lot I liked.
Yeah.
And this isn't to say I liked all his editing choices, but I liked that this person was ambitious with the edit. I liked there was a lot of very, very good portrait work. Like just a lot about a lot of these shots that are just really, really nice. You know, and like, I didn't see any really glaring exposure issues really and things like that. It was just mostly very clean and well shot, and this person clearly has like a passion for what they're doing and is exploring a lot of ideas, and I think that's great. Always, like, don't give up on that, always push that, right? Because that's where the best ideas are going to come out of. I also think the non-FPV drone work of Bucharest is excellent and very interesting and adds a lot.
We're gonna have similar thoughts on that.
And yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I also mentioned they have very good taste in music.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good music. It's pretty well integrated, and it all pretty much worked. I didn't think anything in it was like a horrible song. And the only, I might say a little bit, some of them are maybe a little more high energy than what you're seeing in the footage, but
Yeah.
You
I
know.
think I'm gonna touch on that too.
but I also think, like, you know, they're good songs, and like,
yeah.
they were cool, and I feel like, you know, in the detail work, there's like a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would echo a lot of that. I think it was pretty well covered. I mean, you have a lot of stuff. Obviously, you got to do a day prior as well, which helps, but you had a lot of great content, a lot of great stuff with the couple. A lot of this, you know, getting ready stuff looks really nice. And also, I want to say, Jay mentioned like we didn't really have any, brutal overexposures or something, and we both mentioned that we really like your couple shots, and a lot of the couple shots, Jay was direct sun. I mean, you were like shooting at 1 p.m. in the afternoon out with no cover. So, to get really good looking stuff in that is not always easy, and I think you did a good job. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, good coverage throughout the day.
That's something that's something I might challenge you on, in my opinion. But anyway.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and then so the other thing I would say,
we'll say lots of coverage. I would think we'd agree on that.
Yeah, that's more what I was saying. Let me rephrase it like that. And then the other thing I would say, I know Jay, you mentioned the non-FPV drone stuff was really good. I think just in general, especially in that first maybe 2 minutes, minute and a half, really the day before stuff was really good. Like I really felt the place of Romania in that section. There was a lot of drone, a lot of buildings, a lot of just like establishing and really getting a feel for where we were. Ironically, I feel like where the wedding actually was is like not there at all. We're like on a farm or something, which is kind of funny. But but the shots of the city as well were also very
which he had no control over, but I also think it's strange.
No. It's like it's hard because I would do the same thing probably. I'd be like, well, if I'm in Romania, I want to like let's go around Bucharest,
Well, but mainly it's strange that like maybe there's a reason, like it's a family farm or something, but it was just a little strange that like they went to Romania and then just went to a
field. I mean, not a field, but
a non-distinct looking location, but maybe there's a personal reason for it. So who knows?
Yeah. Cool. So flipping the script on all that, what are some things that you would change? What are some things that stood out to you as things that needed improvement or
I'm going to just give a very focused feedback on this because, well, two things. One, I think some of the overly edgy kind of bottle brush sculpting with time kind of stuff does not work. And I don't think
100% agreed.
They should have done it. Like the weird attempt at humor, it didn't land with me. Only because the rest of the film didn't feel like the whole thing when you watch bottle brush, right? Everybody wants to imitate bottle brush. First of all, I've never seen a single person do it well.
Yeah, very hard to do.
With the exception of maybe the Smiths, but I think they have their own spin on it. They do. They 100% have their own spin. So what they kind of glean influences from bottle brush, but I wouldn't say that they just...
No, they have their own feel.
I would say this one, like, it maybe is a little bit missing that through line. They looked like they had fun too, so I don't want to get overly whatever about the humor part. I guess that could have worked, but I think what really got me about this film is I feel like this filmmaker is very into editing. They like tricks, right? And they like portrait work. They like fashion style, and we were talking about this offline.
Yeah.
When you are in this industry, you have to be able to cover events well. And either they don't have the gear or like they're in their own shot every single 5 seconds.
That's a big...
They're not ready for the moments. Like the shot where I'm just like, this is just not cool is, I'll show you this one moment when I was like, this is...
Please hold.
Here it is. This has to be... This is not how this person was.
This shot right here?
They're not in focus. Why would you include, like, they're way too close. Like, can you imagine? Like, that is, you're not ready.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with that shot.
Why?
And then to choose to use it is a whole nother,
But I think it's indicative of what their emphasis is.
Yeah.
They like when you're shooting
excellent in controlled situations.
You are shooting a wedding ceremony. You need to focus on capturing the moments and be ready for the things to just happen. And like everything is like, every single shot has a camera in it. Like you're just not ready. And I really would encourage this filmmaker to, when they're like, take all the things that they love, all the compliments I gave them about their editing and their exploration and their curiosity with their camera. All that's amazing. Don't change that about yourself, but just add that level of correct event coverage.
It's like I would flip your priority is what I would say. Like you are prioritizing that hyperlapse. You are prioritizing FPV drone. You're prioritizing things that pique your interest, right? As a filmmaker, and you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. I want to do this. And I love that. I love that mindset and that approach, but you can't do that when the building blocks, the bottom level of the pyramid, the foundation has a bunch of errors in it.
Yeah, and I think the ceremony coverage in this leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
And like you just like you can't be in your own shot in the film, like especially like it's like maybe like a drone shot or something, which you might delete in like maybe certain weddings, but maybe it's other ones you leave. Maybe you're on the side somewhere and it's not, no one notices. But like you're just literally in your own frame. Like I would never have used that GoPro shot.
It's well, we can see where it is. So it's the reverse of this. You can see it in frame there.
This right here.
I think it's right there. Yeah.
Like this frame right here where you're just walking on. It's later. There, you're there too.
No, it's there. Yeah.
Oh, that's the moment. That's the moment he missed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
It's I don't know. I'm with you. I think so I agree with that. I think that was probably one of my biggest critiques too, especially like kind of how I address just saying like I love that hyperlapse. It's
really
cool.
Really cool.
It doesn't fit in this film though to me. And I would encourage you to lean more on the foundation of a film and sprinkle in some cool things here and there maybe than I feel like having a film that the cornerstones that the film revolves around are these, keep
the main thing
dots.
The main thing. That's what that's what it is. But it's
and
also
know
like
when to use that stuff and when not to.
That stuff that is messed up is relatively easy to get right if you just
that's the nice thing is if you
take
this critique and you just like literally get a map of get a layout from the coordinator or something of your next wedding ceremony setup if you need it, or get there 30 minutes early and just like sit in the space and come up with a game plan.
And the humor thing, by the way, Felipe, that was just a small part of my critique. That's just personal preference. I could take that or leave it, I guess. I will say the ceremony coverage is when I was like, it's all I'm focusing on, because I don't see massive errors in any other area, but that was just really not great. And I think you are a better filmmaker than that. I'll tell you that. You are a good filmmaker. You could kill that. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Yeah, I think the humor part, the newscast part, like without knowing the context, I would have been like, I guess if I didn't know the context, my response was going to be like, look, maybe the couple loves that, maybe they don't, but man, I would feel real nervous putting something like that in a film and then sending it off to a couple having never really done something like that before. I don't know, like that I'd be nervous about that, but knowing that that's kind of their personality and they knew that person personally, they were actually a newscaster and that they loved it, like that, I don't have any complaints about that then. The only other thing that I would add on my end is we talked about your music and we talked about having a lot of great music, and I would agree with that. I think all the songs were super cool. I think that they were relatively well used. I would kind of agree with Jay in that some were a little more upbeat than what we were seeing. I think though, and I don't know about you, Jay, but I feel like I think we had 4 songs in a 5-minute film. I just think it was too many songs.
I think it was one too many. I almost said that, but I was like, it wasn't like jarringly
it's not
horrible.
Like egregious. Yeah, exactly. It's just like I think you could have developed more story by maybe getting rid of one song or maybe even 2, and like or just more like connection, because what it felt like to me is it was 4 songs. It felt like 4 distinct films, kind of like not films but just like distinct portions of the day, and the changes in song, not that they were done poorly, but they almost felt like a little wall between, like it kind of walled off this section, then this section, which it should do to a certain extent, but it felt like a little too self-contained in each section, if that makes sense.
I can see what you're saying 100%. But I really am excited for this filmmaker because I want to see what they do because they're good. This is a good filmmaker.
Yeah, all that stuff where you had like, I assume you had a little more control on that day before session, and like all the drone stuff of Bucharest and all that. Like, man, there was some good looking stuff in that. So
yeah, there are a lot of good stuff. Just when you nail that boring stuff, and you're telling the sky's the limit. So keep going.
Yeah.
You okay, Bobby?
Yeah, my dog was on my lap.
And you're like, forget that dog, right?
Yeah.
So Bobby, yesterday we released a new podcast episode. If you don't know, we have a podcast. You can listen to it. It's called The Wedding Film School Show.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
We have a podcast.
And we talked about on the episode about if you don't know, in America, we had a celebrity wedding, I think 2 weeks ago. Olivia Culpo, who won Miss Universe, but really dated a Jonas, so she became famous for that.
I actually have no idea. Like, I don't know who she is. So
she's and in our perspective, like locally, Olivia Culpo was from Rhode Island.
Oh, so even more. It hits home for Jay.
Which is why they got married in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
But we did an episode called "No, You Would Not Have Shot the Olivia Culpo Wedding Better," and and essentially, like the idea is like every time a celebrity wedding comes out, I'm sure you've seen this. Like, I remember even with the Jonas wedding a couple years ago that Caleb from East West did, and most of them you don't even see, to be honest. But like, there's always a person who's like, "I would have done that so much better. That's trash. That's terrible. That's who they hired for X reason," and all that junk. And I remember seeing this film got dropped, and like there's a couple things that people criticized about it, and some I get kind of valid, but it's a strange initial response to me. And what was funny is like I start looking at everyone's. If you're ripping on another filmmaker, I'm gonna look at your work. And I remember me and Jared talking like, these people wouldn't have done any better. They would have done like worse. They've never done a wedding to that degree. And so if you're interested, we did a podcast talking about celebrity, but really more luxury weddings. And in the States, we would define like a luxury wedding. Many would, not everyone, but there's no real definition for what a luxury wedding is. We're talking like $2,500 per guest is kind of how we're defining it. These are often $1 million plus events. We're not talking like, oh, I shot a very nice wedding for $100,000 USD. Like, that is a great wedding. Trust me. That is not a luxury wedding.
Yeah.
It is luxury in terms of a product, but in terms of the industry, that's not what we mean. We're talking these giant productions with multiple people involved, including like, if you look at, like this wedding, the Olivia Culpo, and she was marrying, do you know, oh, he's not here. He walked away.
I'm here.
Do you know Christian McCaffrey at least?
Sorry.
I think he's the highest paid running back in the NFL right now.
Who is it?
Christian McCaffrey, the person she married.
Yeah.
So
San Francisco 49ers, he's the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, so it's Christian McCaffrey and Olivia Culpo, and they got married. And, you know, we're not really talking about that wedding, and we're definitely not here to rip the filmmaker at all. So if you think we're going to do that, that's not what we would do on that podcast, unless he submitted his film to our film critiques.
How cool would that be?
It'd be fun.
I'd be super down. Let's reach out.
But if you're interested and you want to know a little bit about what goes into shooting these high leverage, complicated events, like I get a small taste of it, Bobby. Have you ever done events where like there's dressmakers involved and you're kind of like putting together essentially like a marketing thing?
I probably haven't done that extreme. I've definitely done a few luxury weddings. I like in the above multi-million-dollar range. But I don't think I was ever like, dealing with the, dress designer or anything like that directly, at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not in the way you guys did. And also, I would say the most recent one I did was a couple of years ago, and I was shooting with somebody else, with my mentor. And then the ones before that were actually quite a long time ago when I was based in California. And so
There's probably a lot more of that in California.
there's definitely more, but I think also to some extent, like the world is different. If people weren't, I don't think we were putting films on Instagram at that point. I don't think there was video on Instagram.
No,
you know what I mean?
well,
so like the expectations and stuff are probably different today.
Tagging and collabing have changed everything.
Oh, 100%.
Like the idea of having to do a collab, essentially, like you're making a video for Vogue or for whoever's involved, and they're getting tagged. And so there are a lot of interests at these events. And so we talk a little bit about what goes into them. Why are they hard? What makes them hard? And what's funny is we posted it, and there are people like saying stuff like, oh, I could shoot it because I don't worship celebrities. And you're like, nobody thinks it's hard because they're intimidated by the celebrity.
They're so distracted.
They're so starstruck. They can't shoot the wedding.
They're trying to play catch with Christian McCaffrey.
So like, as I'm shooting your wedding, like, hey, what was it like to be tackled? Like, no, nobody's confused or like struggling. It's like literally just, there is so much going on at these events. And so if you ever want a little peek behind the curtain, check out the podcast. We talk about it. And you might decide you don't have any interest in shooting these weddings, which a lot of people wouldn't. And I think that's my question to you. How do you feel like as a wedding filmmaker? Do you aspire to shoot large events, maximum budget, that kind of pressure? Or are you more attracted to the storytelling and working directly with couples and all that?
Okay, here's what I would say. I like doing a very high-end wedding every now and then. I would definitely not want to work exclusively in that space. Like maybe with the right planner or something. But like, it's weird because I think you're totally right. Having done a few luxury weddings, having done plenty of luxury, I guess, not using that tag, whatever, weddings, like there are aspects of a luxury wedding that I think are easier, and I think that's what people gravitate to, right? They say, oh, well, they had $250K for florals. Of course it's
it was easier to shoot good florals at that wedding. That's true.
But there's so many other things that people there's just so much that people are not like giving credit to, really, that makes it a lot more difficult. And I think you guys talked about a lot of that in the podcast, of course, which is great, and I highly recommend that you guys listen to it or watch it on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, I guess I would stay like that. Like, I think many years ago, I had my foot in the door to really, if I really pushed hard, I think I could have gone more exclusive in luxury stuff. And I really made a conscious decision not to do that.
Well, I mean, it's literally like, we were at a wedding the other day, and we had 10 minutes to shoot the tent.
Yeah.
And that was the most important thing to the day.
That's the tough part. Is like 10 minutes to shoot.
We had to bring,
I don't know, hard, frustrating, whatever it happens, but 10 minutes to shoot the room when that's like the defining factor of the wedding, what everybody wants in their real.
Well, it's a 250 person event. The tent is see-through on all sides. So you have to get drone. You have to fly the drone in the tent. You need table details that are close. You need all your wide push-ins, both directions. In order to get that coverage, and we have to get everyone to leave the tent.
Yeah.
So it's a coordinated effort between 5 people to even get these shots. And then you better be quick because the couple wants to be introduced so they can see their tent. And guess what? The planner wants you to shoot it in such a way that they are next to the couple during the tent reveal.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, it's like it's just like that's not super reflective of who I am as a person and how my brain works and how I operate. And I can totally play the role when I need to, but I know myself, and I know doing all my weddings in that space per year would I've done so much over the years. I don't know about you, Jay, if you guys have, but I feel like I've been very intentional with protecting my enjoyment of this job. And I just know if I moved fully into luxury space, there are aspects I would certainly love. There are people I would love working with still, absolutely. But I would not forever love this job.
I have mixed feelings because the more I do it, the sometimes I like for instance, like I might have a client who's very demanding, who's giving us like for our merriment films, but I don't. It's not that I don't care about them, but I know like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? Like we're gonna try to make them happy, but it doesn't feel the same way. The threat
pressure isn't on the same
right
way.
But if you have someone who's giving you $20K to shoot their event and they're unhappy or they want something, not you have to drop everything. And so like that's not enjoyable. But what I think is enjoyable is, first of all, your films are sick and that's rewarding. And it's also rewarding to work with the best of the best in the industry. When you're working with in a lot of the same people regularly, it becomes more of like a family. And you like really love these people and you know what to expect. And like, it's a very small circle of people who service these types of events.
Access to cool stuff. Like, yes, 250K on florals is awesome to shoot. Having, you know, okay, they hired the florist and the caterer and the whatever, and the lighting company is pretty nice as a videographer. You know what I mean?
The last two big events I didn't light anything.
Yeah. Or like, hey, we have circus performers to open our cocktail hour. Or like whatever. You're just like, oh, sweet. All right.
I got to see a free Chicago concert and a free Boston concert last year.
Yeah, there you go.
but it's like that stuff is great. So
but it comes at a price or at a cost.
The price is like whatever. You better be really, really, really organized. And like when it hurts,
that's the big thing. Organization, man. Oh yeah.
When it sucks, it really sucks because of the threat. I think people they think it sucks because the client sucks, but there's a lot of crappy clients at every level. Yeah. Like it's like you don't feel the pressure over $2,000 that you feel over not only $20,000, because this is the thing about these events. I did one a couple weeks ago. It was a billionaire wedding, right? They don't have everyone that's working there or everyone that's attending that event is also rich. I did one 3 weeks ago where there was a bunch of super high-end wedding planners in attendance at this event. And like, if you screw up in front of them, if you screw up on the client, they got invited to this person's wedding. They could go tell, like, that person can end you. They can be like, don't work with them. Like, that doesn't happen at the low level. And I think that's the part that I think is definitely, if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. And so, anyway, check out the episode.
You put the pressure on yourself, right? Of like, because the thing is, no matter if you get 5 minutes with the client for romantics or an hour, which an hour is unrealistic in the luxury space.
Pretty much.
You have to deliver the same quality, right? Like you can't just be like, the day just, oh man, we didn't have time for details. Like that doesn't fly. And really it doesn't fly at any level, but the stakes are higher at the luxury.
One of the comments,
they're paying you more, but the connections.
One of the comments that people were saying was, I would do the exact same thing. My approach wouldn't change at all. And that's why I would be able to shoot better. And I'm like, that is the most ignorant, foolish, like it is wrong. Like your approach would...
You might very well do that at your first luxury wedding. And you would not do it at your second.
No, and like honestly, like that attitude is not going to get you anywhere. You're not going to be able to be open-minded to solve the problem. And so, all that being said, let's watch another wedding film.
Let's do it. This, sorry, I've forgotten twice now, is coming to us from Luis Galaverna, Fixar Imagens, same-sex wedding in Brazil, and a couple wanted a video with a poetic narrative, and that is all that I have. How long is this? I can never see.
It's like 1,000 minutes, I think.
Oh my goodness. Jay, should we do a video that's called watching the longest wedding film ever made, and we just like go find the longest one?
I think that people should try to give us the longest film. Who has the longest wedding film?
Who has the longest wedding film? It'll be somebody who's like, this is my grandpa's from the...
I think that film would bomb on YouTube. So
that's true, because it would be us doing this in our chairs, like after like an hour.
No offense, but there's no way it's good. If you made the longest wedding film in the world, I promise you made also one of the worst films in the world. So here we go. This film.
O amor cuida com carinho, respira o outro, cria o elo, o vínculo de todas as cores. Dizem que o amor é amarelo. Amor é decisão, atitude, muito mais que sentimento. Alento, fogueira, amanhecer. O amor perdoa o imperdoável, resgata a dignidade do ser. É espiritual, tão carnal quanto angelical. Não tá no dogma ou preso numa religião.
Sorry.
É tão antigo quanto a eternidade. Amor é espiritualidade. Mas enquanto houver amor, eu mudarei o curso da vida. Farei um altar para comunhão. Nele eu serei um com o mundo até ver o Ubuntu da emancipação, porque eu descobri o segredo que me faz humano. Já não está mais perdido o elo. O amor é o segredo de tudo e eu pinto tudo em amarelo.
Amor, eu jamais imaginaria que naquela noite eu encontraria o amor da minha vida de forma tão inesperada e avassaladora. Hoje, exatamente 5 anos depois, eu continuo com o mesmo frio na barriga e totalmente apaixonado pelo mesmo homem que eu conheci.
Olha, eu quero que a gente seja muito feliz, mas mais do que a gente, quero que você seja feliz, seja realizado, você esteja muito contente comigo ao seu lado. Conta comigo pra tudo.
Why did you stand so close to this person? Like,
Yeah, there's some interesting camera choices.
it's horrible looking. Like, back up. It's not attractive. This person looks drunk. Like, it doesn't have a... Ugh.
Pra tudo, eu sou seu companheiro, sou seu amor, eu sou seu bem, eu sou o pai das nossas filhas gatas. Então, ela aqui pra sempre. Do jeito que a gente é, sem tirar e nem pôr, eu te amo muito e vou te amar pra sempre.
Hoje, vocês escolheram cultivar uma espécie de figueira. Uma árvore que pode chegar a 15 ou 20 metros de altura e que adorna todo o ambiente com suas grandes, brilhantes e bem verdes folhas. O amor de vocês é como essa figueira, bem cuidado, nada tímido e principalmente enraizado.
Quando dei por mim, tava aqui. Quando lhe achei, me perdi. Quando
Oh, so many bugs. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I like the idea of the structure of this film, by the way.
Yeah, I'm so like torn. There's some like very unique things that I feel work, and then yeah, there's some that just doesn't.
You know, like, this isn't... You can see when people are, like, hitting the limits of what they've... In wedding filmmaking, right? Or just filmmaking in general, camera operation, right? Anyone can pick up your camera and typically find a person and shoot this person, right? And so people a lot of times have a lot of practice filming subjects, and I think most filmmakers, when they first start, they love close shots.
Yeah,
like you see that
like
a lot.
Because they're like, oh, there's bokeh. The background is blurred.
Well, and also it's like a unique perspective, right? Like normally you're never that intimate and never that close. And I think it's like some of it works in this film, like, and we'll keep playing it, but like, what you see is when the person, it's just like the last film, when they hit that ceremony, they don't get to practice that as much.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart.
And you
It's
can
like
see like, there's just a lot of like...
You can tell when it was just like, I have complete control to do whatever I want versus I have to work within the constraints of the moment or the framework.
And that's why we're talking wedding filmmaking and not camera operation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like you can be a very, very good camera op and pretty...
100%. Like, I know people, you know, I like... I'm trying to think, how do I say that? That probably doesn't matter. I'm sure they'll never see it. But like, there are people that I went to film school with there are some who have done some wedding film. They do awesome work. There are some that have tried to do wedding films, and it's like, they crumble. And they're great DPs, right? They're great DPs. They're great camera ops, but a wedding just, it breaks them.
Like, I like all this like handheld personal stuff. I just am like, you gotta back up. Like, you can't shoot this close all the time. It's way too close. Like, this is a type of camera move that I really don't like, and it's not just because they did it. I see it a lot. To me, it's one of the like
this shot right here.
Okay, like, so it's just kind of like
tracking it out of frame,
but like, it's like kind of high and like weird. It's just like, I would much prefer like a symmetric follow of the couple, or like walking backwards or something, or a side, like something that's like, it felt, this kind of feels like they just passed you. But I see that shot a lot. I think the portrayal of the couple is actually really good in this film too, you know? So that's, I want to give them high marks on, I think, what is most important, which is, you know, capturing their journey, capturing their story, having real human emotion, having relationships. Like,
because I think they actually are doing a really good job at that.
At what's most important, they're doing a good job with. And I think the mistakes that I see are also pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's, again, way too close. Like, why are you so... Back up.
Well, I also think there's like there's
there's interviews. Hold on, let's see this. Look how this looks nice.
Yeah, this looks great.
Realmente levantar essa bandeira e falar que a gente pode e que é possível.
I do not like the subtitles for the music.
No, I'm not into that. But I like a lot of the portrait work.
A gente tem que ir mais além. A gente tem que falar de pessoas. As pessoas, elas têm que ter o direito de estar com quem elas quiserem. E nada tira esse direito. E isso tem que ser respeitado. Isso tem que ser feito. E isso também é um ato de amor que alguém pode fazer por outra pessoa.
How much better would that shot have been? How much better would that shot have been if it was really long distance with some compression to show the whole flag?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the film. So I think the story, I give them very high marks. Great storytelling. I think what their values are and who they are and how their journey. I mean, that's tough to do, and they did a great job. I think a lot of this more intimate, like, portrait work they did with the couple is really good. Even though, like, it's shaky and stuff, I think if you sprinkle that in to a really well shot wedding film, it would actually add a level of realism. And
I think there are people that you see us that we show their films on here, we critique their films on here, who do that really well. Like, that can absolutely be a style.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot about this that would, I think, like this shoot that this like engagement shoot that they did with the couple is really solid. Even I think it's a little too much of it in the film, but in general, really good and adds a lot. And the story is really, 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 really good. It's a great story and really obvious story too. Like, you're following it, and it like has a nice narrative too, and all that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, that is a great skill in wedding filmmaking. Not everyone has this skill, so I want to give them high marks.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the thing that stands out to me the most is like that buy-in from your couple and really capturing who they are, and the way you're using your camera, especially, again, like Jay said, kind of in this like engagement session or day before session or whatever you want to call it, is like, it is this ability to capture these really raw moments and this like deeper level connection to who they are as a couple. And that's executed really well, somewhat because of the camera work and some of the choices there. I think that's the biggest props I could give to this film. And I think that's very hard to do And I think it's a very fine line with handheld footage and kind of some of your approaches to the way you shot that. It's very easy to cross the line to where it's like, this is not good and it needs work, but I think it really worked for this couple and for this film. With that said, Jay, if you had to pick one or two things on the flip side, like what would you say are the immediate changes needed?
Again, I'm going to go back to the ceremony,
stuff,
like a lens choice gear. You need different lenses to cover weddings than you do to shoot like editorial and kind of, human interest kind of stories and all these things.
Yeah.
Like weddings, you need more flexibility. So that's one, I think. And then I'm looking at this wedding. So this is orange light mixed with non-bicolor soft boxes, which I think should not be using soft boxes at wedding.
Yeah.
Like it just looks bad. Like I saw it in your frame so many times and I'm like, this is bad looking. So what I get the sense is after looking at the interview, it clicked a little more, right? Look at this frame, right? This is a classically, minus the very poor hair light on this frame.
Yeah.
So they're blending into the background, but this person wants to shoot they're not wanting, maybe their weddings are not their main thing. And this is a decently lit interview. You can't treat a wedding ceremony like an interview.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. It's after dark. I think there's some challenges here. I can't necessarily speak towards exactly how they're holding the light, actually. See that person?
Yeah.
But here's the biggest thing I'll say. If you're going to have to do something like this, where you do have to light it, which I have been in that situation before, at least like balance the light better.
Yeah.
Like it looks green. It's this green tint because this looks nice, but during that ceremony, it's like it looks green.
Yeah. Well, you get to this issue of like being equipped for the job, and I don't know everything you're using, but like this feels to me like somebody who maybe doesn't really, who does video, who does interviews or commercial work and doesn't really do weddings.
But doesn't do a lot of commercial work because, like, if you were doing commercial work, you would want your light to look motivated.
True.
Like, you wouldn't want it to look like
it seems like equipped for something else, maybe trying to translate it into a wedding, and it doesn't always translate. We see that with some of the lens choices or lack of lens choices. We see it with the lighting that we see at the reception. Like, you can't softbox probably anything. I don't think I've ever used a softbox. I'm sure you could for certain things, but like
I would never use a softbox at a wedding.
Yeah, I'm trying to think through like where it would make sense. I had a photographer use one once.
I've seen photographers do it every single time. I take a picture of it and I send it to my team and say, "Doesn't this guy look? It looks bad."
But yeah, all that to say, it's like I think the lens choice. I think having the right tools for the job, knowing what the job is, and gearing appropriately. And then the other thing I would say is like really kind of similar concept to the last film is like totally lean into the scenarios in this day where you had complete control, because you did a great job. You got some really good raw emotional footage, but you need to prepare for the times where you don't have full control, because those are what you build the story. Those are also a key building block to your story, and you need to be able to capture them appropriately. And so I think we see a lot where you have some excellent approach and style and shots and whatever where you had full control, and then a lot of that style doesn't work in the scenarios where you don't have full control, and so it doesn't come across the same way.
Yeah, and also stop. Look at you can literally see a booger in that guy's nose. Like you can't shoot like that. you gotta back up and like actually show context. Just in general, one of the biggest things that a lot of people complain about vertical video, right? And I understand, but I will say this: like, vertical video has changed my shooting style for the better, because I shoot so much wider now right? And what I've realized is what looks bad to my eyes when I'm shooting, when I get it in the studio, I usually love it. And I've become so much more comfortable with just shooting a beautiful wide subject because I know I have to crop it and use it in social, but then I just like the frame better anyway. And it's something about filmmakers. We like when our frame fills up nice on the back of a camera or on your screen. But I think like a lot of people need to resist those instincts and realize like a close-up is for a particular thing. And I think what they did well with the close-ups during the portrait session, which is to show intimacy and a little kind of sexuality and kind of just a little more edginess, doesn't work in other contexts. Like for instance, like
an interview,
or even like people kissing at the altar, like the other film, the better shot is like they kiss and you can see people on the side clapping and you can see everything. Like the context of the kiss is what makes the kiss important. It's not that they're kissing; they've kissed a million times. It's that they're kissing on their altar at their wedding.
Yeah, if you're zoomed in and it's just their nose down to their chin and they're kissing, it's just a kiss.
They could be kissing anywhere.
Zoom out and it's at the altar with people clapping on both sides to some extent. You don't have to show the whole room or anything.
No, just that they were there.
It's their first kiss after they're married because that's a big part of the ceremony or whatever. So
you see it a lot, like when people shoot dances, right? And they only have a 7200 cranked like close up on the couple the entire time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at all those people in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. No, the couple loves those people. They want.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think that couple's gonna want to see like their grandma crying while they have a dance? They do. So it's like, shoot wide enough that you can bring people into the event. Because when you shoot close, you're bringing people into the emotions of the subject, and both are important. You need both in a wedding film. Like, you need intimacy with the couple, and you need connection with the day. And I think this person, very intimate, very personal, maybe a little better event coverage, and I think they're onto something.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what are you feeling, Jay?
I think we stop.
We can pull another one. Yeah, I am in desperate need of water because I did not bring any in here, and it is very hot.
I need you to make a thumbnail for that new video.
Oh boy, my thumbnail skills are.
Don't worry, I'll make it, but I need you to do a picture for me.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys.
I can't sweat too much, so perfect. Well, thanks to everybody for joining today. We will see you next week, perhaps. I might have a shoot, Jay. I will confirm with you offline. But we will certainly see you soon. You can start submitting your films now at weddingfilm.school. There's a live review tab at the top. It's also linked in the description and in the chat. And
have a great weekend, guys. Shoot great weddings.
Yeah. Do it. We dare you. We dare you to shoot a great wedding. You wouldn't dare.
You won't do it.
Yeah, you won't. But you might, and you should. All right. See ya.
Bye, guys.
All right, cool.
Bobby, so tell me how this feels to you.